Jess Harnell, folks. I guess you can sit at tables and like be rivals, or you can sit together and be friends.
I feel like I'm doing a presentation for the Holiday Inn fourth quarter profits. This is so weird, man. Okay, hang on. All right, I'll go over here with George. Maybe something he'll rub off.
What's the title? This isn't Q&A, right? It's voice acting?
Yeah.
All right.
I know nothing about it.
It's voice acting, so I'm going to come and take questions from you guys, but we're going
Hey,
to
look, stereo.
start it out easy. Where you guys tell your individual stories, how you got into voice acting, and then I'll take questions from the audience. So either one of you, go ahead.
I'm nervous.
Go ahead, Susan.
Okay, thank you, honey. Let's see. Well, you'll probably never believe this from looking at me, but my background is in being a rock and roll singer. Shock, right? And what happened was I began singing jingles and songs for Budweiser and McDonald's and all that kind of stuff. And I remember my first demo, and I'm already giving you gold right now, dude. If you guys were paying me right here, this would be like $35. My demo tape, my first demo tape to be a singer, I put "We Are the World." Remember that song, "We Are the World," where like 35 people sang? And I imitated everybody's voice on "We Are the World." That was my demo tape. And it got me a lot of work because it was different. So anytime you can do something different, I recommend that you do. So anyway, started singing jingles, and then somebody I was singing jingles for said, hey, they're looking to do voices for this ride called Splash Mountain at Disneyland. And and he said, I know you do all those stupid voices, because whenever I was singing, I would always be doing voices. And he said, I can get you an audition. So he did, and I got Brer Rabbit, and Brer Bear, and Brer Fox, and Brer Certified Public Accountant, and all these other characters. And I did that, and then I got Roger Rabbit, and then I got Animaniacs, and one thing led to another, and now I got a house. And that's my whole story. How about you, George? What do you got?
Oh wow, that's pretty impressive. I mostly just started out as an actor and a musical theater guy. I went to Northwestern Chicago, studied theater, blah blah blah. I was a ballet dancer for a while. I know it's kind of weird. And then went out to LA and just started acting. And one of my first jobs was Pirates of Dark Water, which was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon with Jody Benson and Hector Elizondo and Tim Curry. You guys know Tim Curry probably.
Sure.
But and then a lot more on camera, and then I got the Tim Daly was not available for an audition once for Superman because of wings or something. So I went and auditioned for his part. So I got his part from him for about 10 years.
How about that?
So that's pretty great. And then I do lots of other video games. I do Sephiroth for Final Fantasy, and so it's just sort of been a great thing in tandem with my camera work. I have a blast doing it. I also do a lot of audio books. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
He has a very soothing voice. I feel like I'm being comforted just listening to him. It's very nice.
All right, Q&A, so put your hands up. This is for you guys.
Yeah, anything you want to know.
If you don't have anything to say, we're going to have to leave. These guys are going to go out to lunch. All right, right.
What's your favorite character that you've done so far?
George, want to go?
Your favorite child?
My favorite character, I would have to say Sephiroth has been my favorite character so far. I mean, Superman's a blast, but Sephiroth is so fun because he's just so weird. He's so weird and evil, flying around.
Yeah. I always have a soft spot for Wacko because he was the first big show that I ever did, and he doesn't wear pants. And I like that. And yeah, that's a bonus, exactly. And on top of that, the whole cool thing about the voiceover thing is that you're only limited, like George said about doing it on camera. When you do on camera work, you walk in and you either look right for the part or you don't look right for the part. With animation, it doesn't matter. You can do anything. And I love the fact that you can play the dad and the kid and the dog on the same show the same day in 25 minutes and don't have to put on makeup or anything like that. And that's amazing. And I also like the fact that I can go from doing something like Wacko, which is, kind of like Looney Tunes, but still family-oriented, to doing Drawn Together or something like that for Comedy Central, which was so warped and so un-PC, and then doing Doc McStuffins, which is like for 5-year-olds, and then, do America's Funniest Home Videos, so it's all this different stuff, and that's the best part about it, is being a chameleon. But my favorite part is probably still Wacko, because he got me the house.
All right, question in the back.
Do you gesture a lot when you do voice acting, or are you very still?
I stand on my head. Well, I don't know about you, George. I do get into it because you kind of start moving and stuff like that, and your hands start going. So I always like it to be cool in the room because if not, I start sweating. I don't like that. But yeah, I think getting physical actually helps you. Get into the character, because if you're interested in voice acting, another little tidbit for you, voice acting is a little V and a big A. In other words, it's way more about acting than it is about doing funny voices. So, because you're not just creating a sound, you're creating a character with your voice, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I feel like in terms of physically, I have to stand up when I do it. I don't like to sit down because sitting down, it sort of caves in your diaphragm a little bit. It's better to get up and open up your chest and open up your body. And for Superman, I'm constantly getting electrocuted and shocked and cut in half. And so
They suspend him from a rope too when he's Superman.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
All right, on this side of the room over here.
Cool.
So I know Seth Roth mentioned he has some theater backing, so I was just wondering if either of you have dabbled in improv at all?
This is it.
my life is a gigantic improv. No, Groundlings. I worked at the Groundlings
Oh,
for
Groundlings
a
are
year,
great,
so
yeah.
it's terrifying. Actually, I don't love it. It makes me sweat in a bad way. But it's good training for a while. But I would never do that.
It's great skill. Yeah, I've taken improv too, and you know, life is improv. You know what I mean? It's like just if you try to be witty about things and you find a way to just kind of find the funny side of things, it definitely benefits you. But for voice acting, especially character voices, improv is awesome, man. You should definitely look into it because it just gets your instincts sharp, you know. And when you have a script that's already funny and you can add something to make it a little funnier, more power to you, right? Yeah.
All right, hands up, hands up. We got one right here.
In your career, have you ever had a,
That's the best Catwoman costume I've ever seen. Mario, what's up? Tell me your question.
this may be a little bit out of left field, but in your career, have you ever had to turn down an opportunity for work, and if so, what was the circumstances?
Turn down the opportunity and still work under the circumstances?
Have you ever had to turn down an opportunity for work, and if so, what were the circumstances?
Oh.
Usually, for me, it's either been something that was so terrible that I was embarrassed to do it, and that's happened many times. And other times, it's just like, for an actor's life goes like, if you book a plane ticket, you will get a job, so you have to make a choice about, do you want to live your life or you want a job, and if you're not taking time off of your family or whatever, you won't work. It's just a weird deal. So I've taken many vacations in lieu of work just because you have to book, you got to get on with your life because you can't sit around and wait. So,
Yeah. I mean, I've turned down a few things. The nice thing is that as you work and you start to do more and more of this stuff, you kind of get more powerful and be able to say no sometimes, you know? So like if they'll give me something that just totally goes against my values or I find it really, really distasteful or something like that, and I know you're thinking, you didn't draw together, dude, what do you find distasteful? But believe it or not, there was stuff in there that they wanted me to say, and I'm like, I'm not going to say that. You know, give that to somebody else. You know, there's those. Then there's other times where when, you know, I've had to turn down work sometimes because in addition to the cartoon thing, I do this band thing, and we did really well, and we were touring with some big bands and stuff, and I would come home, and I'd do those shows on the weekends, and then I would do cartoons during the week, and after like a month, my voice was like, oh my gosh, my voice is just gone. I can't do anything anymore. You know, so I would turn down work just to give my voice a chance to chill out and come back because I got so crazy out there, man. You know?
All
So
right.
yeah, but other than that, the only kind of work I turn down is cleaning pools because I don't know how to do it.
All right, over here.
You mentioned having to make a lot of noise, like being electrocuted and whatnot. How do you go about making those sort of noises? Do you do any research for it?
That's a good question.
Not really research. You just sort of, the hardest parts are like, are you giving a punch or receiving a punch?
Yeah.
And also the director, if they're good, they'll say, here's what the animation is, you know, because you're usually doing the voice without the animation.
Yeah.
You're doing a pickup. But so they say, you know, Superman comes up and it's a really way back punch through the air, and you're giving it. So it's a as opposed to which is in. And those are, believe it or not, I mean, it makes a difference.
No, what I love is when they throw you stuff, you know, like, because it's really funny you said you prepare for that. You can't prepare for any of that because it's like, you're sitting there, I kid you not, they'll sit there and you're in a session and they'll go, okay, on this next line, you guys are a bunch of wildebeests and you're going into a frenzy. Okay, here we go. And it's just like, wildebeest going into a frenzy? What the hell? Yeah, but you just throw something out there and you think to yourself, what would that sound like? And you come up with something, they go, that was amazing. And you're like, yeah, I meant to do that. And you have no idea. Yeah, I don't know.
They have a great, have you done loop group stuff?
Sure.
I mean, there's a thing called loop group, and
Yeah.
there are like, I guess, 8 or 9 people that go from show to show to show, and several groups. And we're super talented people because they do have to do this.
Right, on the
and we're
fly.
in a cocktail party and wildebeest come in and the wildebeest are drunk.
Yeah, drunk, and they're South African wildebeest.
Right, and you do it.
Yeah, you just
Right
have
on
to
the
pull that out.
spot.
So I learned
Really-
long ago that I'm just like, man, I'll just go with my instincts and hope for the best. And
Yeah.
it's worked out. You know?
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
All right, front row.
We don't do this now, but like before we leave, can we hear Wacko's 50 state capitals?
Oh my gosh, dude. I'll tell you what, before we leave, you can hear 10 because I only remember the first verse. But let's see, hang on, I'll just get out of the way right now. Let's see. Spotsylvan's Louisiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Columbus is the capital of Ohio. There's Montgomery, Alabama, Sullivan, and Montana, and there's Denver, Colorado, and Boise, Idaho. Texas has Austin, then we go north. Massachusetts, Boston, Albany, New York, Tallahassee, Florida, Washington, D.C., Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Nashville, Tennessee. Elvis used to hang out there, and that's what I know. It's not the whole thing, but it's awesome.
First, I want to say Wacko is my favorite character on Animaniacs.
And you're my favorite character in the whole room.
Hello.
Hello? Yes, yeah, really.
I wanted to ask if there was a day that you remember out of all days, and when you're at the studio, something really weird happened or something really funny happened, something that you tell all your friends about, you can't believe what happened today at work kind of thing.
That happens more than you would think. I mean, just as a result of doing this, because I'm sure George would agree that we get to work, you guys, seriously, with some of the most talented people in the world. You know, it's like you're faced with people and you're sitting with people who do things, and you're like, how do you do that? That's so cool. That's so amazing that he did that. And there are so many examples of that question that I can give you, but I will tell you one. Just personally, for those of you, some of you might know me a little bit, and those who haven't, come to my table and say hi, and then we'll know each other. Even if you don't buy anything, you can still come say hi, I don't care. But the point is that I generally say what's on my mind, and I don't think about it before I say it. And you'd think that could be a liability, but actually it usually benefits me. And I'll give you one quick example.
Unless you're married.
Unless you're married, then you gotta
You just shut your mouth.
yeah, then you gotta learn to be quiet. But like when we first did Animaniacs, which was again, it was my first big show, and thank you God I've had many since, but that was the first big one. They threw a party for us for when the show debuted, and they had Steven Spielberg come and say hi to us, right? And it was so funny because when it was time to meet Steven, they had the whole back lot of Warner Brothers reserved, and they had clowns and bouncy houses and like all kind of roller coasters that they brought in for this big party. It must have cost them at least $35, and it was a nice party. And they lined us all up, and here comes Steven. Right, and he comes out and he's got his little hat on and his jean jacket, and he starts this one end of the line, and he's shaking hands with everybody. And as he's shaking hands, they have somebody behind him, like with the Queen of England, going, Stephen, this is Rob Paulson. He's the voice of Pinky and the Echo and Dr. Scratch and Sniff. He was previously on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And I can hear this. Right, and Steven's like, So he goes, Rob, loved you on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. They're shaking hands with her. So he gets down to me, and I hear them talking about me as he's walking over, and I'm just looking at him going, that's Steven Spielberg, right? So he goes, Jess, he goes, really loved the audition, man. Nobody did anything like that. It was so cool. We're so happy to have you with us here, and this is just really great, and thank you so much. And he says all this nice stuff, and I'm just nodding. And when he was finished talking, I said, dude, I gotta be honest with you. I said, I didn't hear a word of what you just said, because all I was thinking about the whole time was how much money you have in your wallet right now. No, it was great, because so he kind of looks at me, and he laughs, and he goes, it's a lot. I go, yeah. I go, think about it like this. And now everybody's kind of laughing, but they're also going, I can't believe you said that. So he goes, so I said, think about it, man. While we were talking, for the last 25 seconds, you probably made what, like $35,000? He goes, yeah, something like that. I go, that's amazing. So he walks away, and as he's walking away, he goes, hey, Jess, come here, sit down with me, right? So he invited me over to sit down with him. So next thing you know, I'm having lunch with Steven Spielberg because I said that. So that's a good example of something that happens at work. When you just don't filter yourself, anything can happen. And I got a lot more stories like that too. Anyway, so there you go. So that's a story for you. Cheers. All right. Next question.
Still right here in purple.
Thank you. Very purple. Jess, first of all, I love your Ironhide Transformers.
Thank you. I love your purple outfit.
So
and your legs aren't bad either. I'm sorry. See, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. I didn't even mean to say that. Go ahead. That's exactly.
I get so much trouble.
Part two. George, when you got the part of Sephiroth, I know you did Nuge in Final Fantasy X 2. When you got the part, did you realize how big a deal this character was? How nuts, per se,
I
some
had
fans are?
no
Definitely not
idea.
me.
Zero idea. I don't play video games because I didn't let them into my house with my kids because if they came in, I would never leave the house. So I just said, no, we can't have it. So I didn't really know. I really just, but since, you know, it's a huge industry.
We love Jews.
Oh,
Yay!
yeah.
Yeah, things come out, you never know how they're gonna go over, and sometimes they become these gigantic things, it's crazy.
All right.
How's it going, guys?
Dude, what's up?
I've got a question for you. Yeah, that was my question. I already have a voice demo made.
Cool.
I had a friend of mine be able to set it up professionally. How would you suggest I get it out there? Through a website, through voice.com, send it to an agent, or what would be your...
All right, there's a couple of things, dude. First of all, you got a pen handy or something you can write with?
I don't.
All right, well, as you get that, I'm
Come
gonna
by
give you
the
some
table and
information.
get the postcard.
Yeah, come by my table. I got postcards of some people that can help you out. But there's some really great resources available for people like yourself who'd like to get into the business, and I get nothing for recommending them except the satisfaction of saying that you're going somewhere good as opposed to someplace crappy. There's a website called vobuzzweekly.com where they do really long, in-depth interviews with a lot of voice actors and talk about demos, where to send them, how to make them, how to get jobs, how to develop characters, all that stuff. vobuzzweekly.com. I want to be a voiceactor.com. That's Steve Bradley Baker's site. It's awesome. There's a lot of good information there. And Rob Paulson's Talking Tunes. And yeah, if you check these things out and you watch them, you will walk away with so much information. And be sure you have a pen because they're going to save even more on there than I just did here. So check that stuff out. And good luck to you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Which do you think would make a better role model?
George, way better.
No.
Just sitting next to him, I can already tell you do way better counting yourself after him than me, bro. Because me, it's all strippers and baseball caps.
I'm asking specifically regarding Superman and Captain Hero.
Who would do better and what? Who would be better to model yourself after?
Kids.
Oh my God! Go ahead.
I don't know. That's a toss-up.
You gotta listen, Superman is truth, justice, and the American way.
Right.
Captain Hero is painkillers and donkeys. You know what I mean? So it's like, it depends on what you're into, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want to be a role model and you want to have a legacy to look back on with pride, definitely him. If you want to get loaded and bang a lot of strippers, then Captain Hero. Next question.
Anyone? No one? Or dead strippers, right?
Oh yeah, he did, George, he did.
All right, pull up.
I know.
Pull up.
I'm not even, I can't make that up, that's what I'm saying. Hello, nurse.
Hello. So as you said before, the industry has exploded very much over the years, and I was just curious, in your position as employees and then as people that we look up to, how it's changed for you over the years, whether good or bad, and some directions that you hope the industry goes towards.
Oh, it's a very intelligent question. You take it, you're smart.
Not smart. Gosh.
I'm sorry.
No, it's a good question.
You know, for me, it's been sort of a tandem job for me with on camera stuff. So I don't know it as intimately as I believe you do. But I only know that it has grown exponentially with new media and cable and everyone having so many different outlets to see their special. Like anime has I don't know 100 different kinds of different kinds of anime alone. And we're 10 years ago it was maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. So
me and him don't do any of it because they don't pay enough. Go on.
But no, I really I don't know where it's going from here. I just know that I think it's been a blessing for a lot of folks to be able to have I guess people a sense of passion for their one thing, whereas before it was sort of scattershot. So
yeah, and the way to look at it is this: are you interested in the field about being a voice actor and stuff?
Not me personally.
Well, the cool thing is, look at it like this: there's on one hand, the more outlets there are, and there are more than ever before now, because with the internet and the advent of online development, and Netflix having series and Hulu making their own series, everybody's making their, and they're all going to do animation. So the amount of work just multiplied exponentially. So that's cool. Right? But on the other hand, you could say that the more things change, the more they stay the same. Because the fact is, whether it's anime or whether it's video games or traditional animation or Pixar or whatever it is, it still comes down to the same thing, which is creating a cool character and putting it to use in a way that people will like it and relate to it and hopefully want to buy plush toys, you know what I mean? So it's like, so that stayed exactly the same, and I think it always will. It's just the good thing for folks like you, and always remember this too, whatever you're interested in breaking into, whether it's voice acting or being a celebrity chef or being a pool cleaner, whatever it is, you know, people say, oh, it's so hard to break in, it's so hard to get started, it's really closed, there's only a few people doing it. He broke into it, I broke into it, and if we broke into it, so can you. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
So, because it's like, dude, I have no qualifications to do anything. So the fact that I get to do this and they throw a bag of money at me is ridiculous, and I can't believe it. And I've been doing it for so friggin' long. That's the crazy part.
All right, down here in the back.
Go.
So you mentioned that your original demo reel was you doing all the voices from We Are the World.
Yeah, that was for singing, yeah.
For someone who wants to break into voice acting, the hardest thing that I have is finding something to say. So for a demo reel or something like that, how would you go about script writing, or are impersonations still viable?
Oh, yeah, they love that stuff. I mean, you don't want to, all good questions, and I'll try to get them real quick. With impressions, people love to hear impressions of people. Don't do impressions of cartoon characters on your demo, ever. Because the way they look at it is, we already have a SpongeBob and a Mickey Mouse. Why are you doing SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse? On the other hand, if you're doing celebrities, I make a lot of money doing celebrity voice matches. I fill in dialogue for celebrities when they're not available, because I do good impressions, so that's definitely on my demo. But the thing with demos, again, those same resources I recommended to my buddy over here online, check those things out. You have a nice voice, by the way. As soon as you started talking, yeah, you sounded nice. So that's good. But the thing with demos is, anything you can do to make them interesting will help you. And it's like, even the demo you mentioned is a singing demo. And even if that sucked, which I don't think it did, but even if it had, people would have come in to listen to it just because they'd say, I can't believe this guy had the balls to try to do Cyndi Lauper and Bob Dylan and whoever else was on the thing. But I did, and it was good. My voiceover demo, my first voiceover demo, which they still use, like Andrea Romano plays it in her classes before when she's teaching people, and says, this is who you're competing against, which is quite a compliment. But all it was I did a grandfather and his grandson, okay, saying, let's see what's on television. And they had a remote control, so I just had this little sound that, and every time they changed the station, it was another voice from some sort of television. And I got to do, I think, like 75 voices in 1 minute 45 seconds. And by the time it was over, there was a unifying theme, it made sense, it was like taking a little trip, and it was unique and clever. So any chance you have just to brainstorm and go, how can I make it stand out? You should try to do that, right? See?
I can't wait to listen to this demo.
Superman's on my side, man, I'm making it, this is amazing. All right,
we're going right here.
When you got the role for Wacko, what kind of a description did they give you of the character?
Dude, that's a good question. When I first auditioned for that, why am I holding this? Because I want to go, wow! When I first did Wacko, it just said he's this crazy cartoon character without pants, and he can do anything, and he's nuts, and he flies around, and he's crazy. So I just did some crazy cartoony voice for that, right? And then they got the call back to go in for the second audition because they liked you enough to bring you back. And I'm standing there in the studio with Andrea, and I'm throwing out crazy cartoon voices. And she goes, you do impressions, right? See, girl with the cool voice, yeah, there you go. So she said, you do impressions? I said, yeah, I like that. She said, why don't you try like Elvis? I'm not even kidding. And I said, Elvis, you know, she's like, yes, I'm like, hello, nurse, and all that kind of stuff, you know, like, hey man, this is Fabu, come on. It was really weird. And then she said, why don't you do like the Beatles? And I said, you know, which one? And she's like, ooh, you know, they all sound different. I said, yeah, of course they do. You know, I got John, and John's voice was like in his nose, like it was sharp and pointy, sort of. And then Paul's voice was a bit higher and more like friendly and smoky and stuff. Great, fantastic, you know. And then George was more like this and spoke very slowly. And then Ringo was down there at the bottom, you know, so they're all four very different, aren't they? And she said, why don't you try like Ringo? So I'm like, hello, nurse. And she showed me the picture, and I saw he was little. So I just took Ringo, and I said, well, you know, he can't sound like this if he's a little tiny guy. So I took that voice and I made it small, and next thing you know, that was it. And Steven Spielberg heard it, dude, he goes, this guy's nuts, I want that. So that's exactly how, yeah, that's cool, right? So that's how that came down. Yeah, oh yeah. Right?
All right, what do we got? Okay, come on, Ben. I was going to have Schnackadoo do this.
Schnackadoo, grab the mic.
He doesn't want to get up and
do it. That's my nephew, Schnackadoo, you should do it.
He doesn't want to get up.
He's embarrassed of his name. Schnackadoo is a good name, bro, be proud. Hi, sexy girl again, what's up?
Aw, you're so sweet. I wanted to ask you this, and I thought of it immediately after I asked you the first question.
I thought of some questions for you too, but I didn't say them.
Oh, it's okay. Totally ask me.
All right, come down to the table, I'll ask you some stuff.
I wanted to know if you have ever just Googled your own characters and like come across things you probably didn't want to. I'm talking specifically, fan fiction, erotic fan fiction.
You know, what's great is there's fan fiction about not just my characters, but about me. And some of you girls are really weird, man. I'm serious. No, you know.
Not just girls.
Yeah, I don't read those because that would really freak me out. But anyhow, no. The thing is, it's like it's nice when people embrace those characters, but more so even in the fan fiction. What happens with me a lot is that people come up and go, "Oh man, I loved you in this." And I'm like, I wasn't in that.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, you were. And they show it to me, and they're like, wow, was that good? And they go, it was great, do the voice. I'm like, you do it, I don't know what it was. So they got to go to YouTube and show me stuff, and then I remember. Like, I was Spyro the Dragon, right? And I don't remember that voice at all. So people always go, do Spyro the Dragon. I'm like, I can't, dude. You should go to YouTube and find it, and I can do it that way. So in terms of discovering new stuff about my characters, unless I've done it in the last week, it's all new. You know what I mean? How about you? Do you think? Same deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it becomes like a blur. I mean, it's like, when you're blessed enough to work all the time, which is a huge thing, it's something like the stuff you did 6 months ago. They'll call you and go, oh, that thing happened, and now it's a big deal over in Holland or whatever. You're like, I don't even have any recollection
what it was
of doing that. Yeah. Right? Like I'm in Kingdom Hearts. I don't know who I am. Jeff, who am I, dude?
I have no idea.
I don't either. Maybe I'm Cinderella. I don't know. But I am Prince Charming, which is pretty cool. That's nice to be Prince Charming because then when you meet a girl, you go, I'm Prince Charming. She goes, that's nice. You go, no, seriously, I am. All right. Anyway.
All right, Christian. I thought that was going somewhere else when she said you Google your character.
Yeah, I know. I got to keep it clean, man.
It's kind of a two-part question.
Go.
The first part is, how difficult is it to sing in character voices?
That's a good question. Well, do you sing?
I do. I was a musical theater guy. I just sang for one of those talking puppy movies.
Nice.
Rock and roll guy.
I love that.
Yeah. No, so you do. You would know more than I do.
Yeah.
You sing in the character that you do. Yeah.
Well, it's basically here. That's a good question for. Again, I'm going to take it on a different road, but it means the same thing. When you have a character, when you have it down and you know who that character is, you can sing like that character, you can be sad like that character, you can be angry like that character. That's when you know you have a character, when it's a developed character. Because when it's just, saying something funny or his catchphrase, or whatever it is, that's just one element of it. Okay, but what's he like when he's in a bad mood? What's he like when he's tired? So singing is the same thing. It's just taking that. I mean, I did so much of it before I started the cartoon stuff that it was an easy transition, but I think all my actor friends, once you know the character you're playing, you know how that character would sing. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, the second part is a little more specific. How does it feel that the only voice that you've done that has utilized the fact that you're a rock singer is on Doc McStuffins?
Oh my God, you heard that? That sound? How crazy is that? Well, yeah, because it's really funny. Okay, so the rock singer thing, first of all, if you guys are bored later, go to YouTube and look up Rock Sugar, okay? Because that's my band, it's called Rock Sugar. You already know it, all right? Well, this thing started as a goof. And it was like, I said to my best friend who's a guitar player, I said, it'd be really stupid if there was some 80s hair metal band that got stuck on a desert island for 20 years at the end of the 80s and with a bunch of pop records from the 80s. And when they were rescued, they thought that was metal. Right? So basically, like the guys in the band will play an AC/DC song, but I sing a Madonna song over the AC/DC song, and it works. Okay? And it was a joke. It started as a joke. Our second gig was in front of Motley Crue, in front of like 25,000 people. We played in front of AC/DC and Aerosmith, and it started as a joke, and it became this big, big thing. And in fact, I imitate all these singers on the record. I imitate like Axl Rose and Steve Perry and Joe Elliott and Bryan Adams and all these people. And one of the impressions was so good that the guy heard it and he sued us because he thought it was his own voice. Now that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. In fact, Jeff, at some point, bring your phone up here. I'll play part of it soon for everybody.
I'll work that up right now.
Yeah, but it's really cool. And it was so stupid because I do this Doc McStuffins show, right? And I play this character Chili, and he's a snowman, and he's like, "Hey guys, what's up? I'm this snowman with this really low voice," and he's like that. Well, they gave me this song to sing, and because I sing really high in the band, they had me just screaming. And I'm like, I can't scream like this. I can't do that. Right? So I don't worry about it. Just rock it out. So I'm in there and I'm screaming. And then later on I see the thing, and it's like this little snowman basically turned into Axl Rose or something. It was so strange. It was so weird. And after that, I'm like, that was really weird. They go, yeah, we got a lot of parents calling us scope going, what happened to this guy? He was so lovable. Now he's got tattoos. What happened? You know, it was really weird. But yeah, so check out the Rock Sugar thing. You're gonna laugh. You'll dig it. And then you come to my booth and tell me. Oh, and the other thing is, and I'm not saying this. Believe me, I don't care about the money. It's all good. I have some CDs down at the booth, and the reason I mention that is, go on Amazon, okay, and put in Rock Sugar. The CDs are selling, I think, for $199 right now, right? I'm selling for $25, whatever. The reason they're selling for so much is because that guy doesn't want us to sell them because he says it sounds too much like him. So he got mad. So he get. It's just crazy. Show business is nuts. Anyway, next question.
George, I just love his face. He's amazing.
I know, I feel like I'm in the audience. They're just...
Oh, that's cool. I got some good stories, George. We'll hang out.
Next, right here.
Sorry to say it's another Animaniacs question.
I'm
That's all right, dude.
Good. One of my favorite parts of Animaniacs was the innuendos.
Oh yeah,
The entire show.
Fingerprints? Remember that one?
Now, was that a collaboration between the voice actors and the writers? And how much fun was that, you know, working on all those?
Oh, it was amazing, man. It's a good question. And yeah, we had fantastic writers. That's why the show won so many Emmy Awards and Peabody Awards and stuff. And when I won my Peabody Award, it was great because I wanted to take it back to my high school and show my counselors and go, see, I'm not in jail. I got a Peabody Award. But no, it was way fun to do because it was like not something you'd expect. But if you look back at the old Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny used to say all kinds of crazy stuff like that too. We couldn't, you know, we were like, wow, we can really get away with this. We can really say this. And we did. And that's one of the things that made this show so much fun. Like, I remember there was this one line, you guys, where we were in a field and we were bouncing around on our butts for some reason in a field. And we're going, romp, 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 hey, romp, 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 hey. Right? And Yakko goes, come on, you know, Wacko, just want to romp some more? And I go, no, my bottom's all sore from romping. And I can't believe I just said that on a kids show, man. My bottom's all sore from romping, dude. That was crazy. Yeah, so it was a really fun part. And I think that's why, though. You know what's funny? I met Friz Freeling. You know who that is? He's a great animator. Yeah. And he told me once, he said, you know, if you make animation for kids, you make cartoons for kids, it's going to get old really fast. But if you make it for adults, and the kids can still laugh at it, it'll never age. And that's why the great shows like that never did, you know? I remember, though, when I did Animaniacs, this is another fun thing. When I first did it, I didn't know who any of these people were, because my whole background was, you know, rock music, you know? So I met Tress MacNeille and Frank Welker and Rob Paulson the first day that we were recording. And you guys probably know who all those people are, and they're amazing. I didn't know who the hell they were. So at the break, we had a coffee break, and I go over to Rob. The first thing I ever said to Rob Paulson, I walked over to him, and I got my Fresca or something. And he goes, hey man, so welcome. It's nice to have you with us. And the only thing I could think of to say was, I go, I gotta tell you, I think it's cool when you make your voice sound like people that you're not in real life. That's what I said. And then he liked it. He went from then on, we were buddies. I don't know where it was at. All right, next question. What do you got?
Right back here.
First of all, I just want to say, George, love you as Sephiroth.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
I gotta check out this Sephiroth thing. This is big news, huh?
Jess, I love you as Ironhide.
Thanks, dude.
And I just found out a few days ago you were Crash Bandicoot. That's my childhood.
Yeah, dude, how cool is that? I don't remember what he sounds like, but I was him.
Question for both of you. What's your most difficult role you've ever had to do voice acting-wise, live action-wise?
You did that.
You know, I do a bunch of audiobooks. I have a studio in my house, and I've been doing a lot of that because it's a good little side gig. And I had a science fiction series called Otherland by Ted Williams. And the first book had 167 characters.
Oh my God.
And the lead woman is a South African professor, and her, you know,
it's a great actor.
Her little sidekick was a Zulu warrior.
Wow.
Also part Arabic, I guess.
See how cool is that?
But the problem is, the hard part about the job, I guess, to answer your question, is I can't freaking keep them straight. So I have a big memo. And the problem is when you get six 45-year-old white guys in a room talking, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
right.
You try to imagine someone driving in a car, and how are they going to follow the story and differentiate, you know, point of view. So that's always a challenge. But I think audiobooks, frankly, as opposed to animation, it kills me when there's so many characters.
Oh yeah, it's like he's just saying you have one. Then your
It's
carrying
a solitary
such a load.
work as well.
Right. Right, I've never done a bunch of audiobooks as George has, but I can imagine you'd have so many characters, like you said, a room full of, white guys.
He was like, what do we do now?
Yeah. For me, what's really weird is that I always thought my voice is silly putty, which is why I feel like I can do as much with it as I can. But it's funny because some of the things that you think would hurt it really don't, and other things that you don't think would hurt it really kind of do.
That's the truth.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, like I do a lot of like South Park stuff for like the South Park ancillary products, like the video games and stuff like that. And you'd think like a voice like Cartman would hurt your voice, but it doesn't. But what really does hurt your voice is I do a ton of stuff for the Wizard of Oz, where I'm the Cowardly Lion. And that voice is really weird because it's all here. Everything, you can't support it at all. So it's all here. And everything is saying it's right in your throat. And you go, and it's like that. You do that for a couple hours, and again, you're like, oh no, this is bad. I gotta go to see the doctor. This is terrible. I'm not gonna be able to make the mortgage.
You gotta put your mouth on it, boy.
Working on that handsome for that puppet baby. You can become Sling Blade, dude. I can only just, that'd be it. Hey, you guys want to hear a funny thing? This is awesome. This is a good little story. So I was saying about the voice match thing, right? So I do Walken. I do Christopher Walken's voice match stuff. And and it's fantastic. And not too long ago, I was going in to do some voice match stuff for Christopher Walken. And he came out of the studio. Like I'm waiting in the waiting room, and he comes out. And I'm like, why am I here? I mean, he's like, what would the reason be? They got him. Why am I sitting here? So he sees me, and he's walking around, he's kind of saying hi, goodbye to people, and he sees me, and he's got this coffee, and he nods at me, and I thought, I wonder if he knows who I am and what I'm doing here. And he comes over to me, and he goes, hi, and I go, hey man, I go, what's up? And he goes, so, you're Jess. And I go, yeah, man, yeah. And he goes, you're the guy that does my stuff. And I said, yeah. And he goes, I thought so. It's good. And I go, yeah, man. I go, gotta be honest with you though. I really don't know why I'm here. If you're here, I don't know why they would bother having me here because you're here.
You're you.
Right. And he looks at me and he goes, no, it's good. It's better. He goes, next time. He goes, you go in, do the whole thing. He goes, it's less work for me. I'll still get paid. I mean, he was so cool about it, dude. And then I kid you not, he goes, you want to get high? And I'm like, no, dude, I'm cool. He goes, I'm going to go get high. And he went out and smoked the joint. So this is my life, man. Oh, and William Shatner is my neighbor, and he thinks I'm Gene Simmons from Kids. I'm not for real, for 15 years, man. For 15 yeah.
All right, question.
Go, dude. It's crazy.
Do you ever get so involved in take ownership of your characters that might get passed on to other people that you might judge how other people play them? Like there's been someone of Superman. Do you ever go, well, my Superman wouldn't do it that way, or I would have played it differently?
Do you mean, do I get angry and bitter?
I guess where you just collect your check and go, I'm good, I'm done now.
I don't really compare myself. Once you start comparing yourself, you're on the road to nowhere. I just kind of do my thing and move along. And a lot of times, actually, since I took over the job from Tim Daly 10 years ago, they've used other guys besides Tim and I, and then they'll use me for a little bit, and they use him, and then they use somebody else, totally out of Baldwin, blah, blah. So you just kind of go, that's a corporate decision outside of me, and I just kind of stick to my own thing and don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's funny that you say it because I mean, most of my characters, I don't know that a lot of them have been done by other people, but if they have, this is funny because somebody came up to me and they said, dude, you were Crash Bandicoot. I said, yeah. They go, you were Crash in this and this and this. And I said, yeah. And they go, so-and-so did it in this, and so-and-so did it in that, and so-and-so did it in that. Which one did you like the best? I said, I've never heard any of them, including mine, dude. So I have no idea, man. I got other things that going on. I've never even heard it. So, but like George said, even if I had, I don't think I would go, oh, well, how does this measure up? But what's interesting is a lot of the time I tend to be very philosophical, I guess, about it, or just accepting. If you're up for a gig, for instance, check this out. There was a show like 20 years ago that I auditioned for, and I got called back, and then I got called back, and I got called back, and I got called back, and it came down to me and 3 other guys, right? And finally, one of the other guys got it. And since I'd done so many auditions for it, I actually remembered it longer than I usually do. And when I heard what he did, I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's not like what I did, but it was really, really, I'm like, I admire that. That was a great choice. I can see why they went with him. And that was SpongeBob. So you never know, you know what I mean? It's like, so
Right,
they know what they're looking for when they hear it, and if it's you, great, if it's not, more power to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I also think that somebody told me something really wise. It's like reading
That was
reviews.
me.
It was you.
Yeah.
Reading reviews, good or bad, of yourself. Any artist, a singer, writer, anything is for suckers and losers.
Especially with the internet.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you should not believe or read the good or bad because they don't mean anything.
True.
And when you start getting your head about, you know, anything creative, it leads to nowhere. So you just have to kind of tune it out as best you can.
Exactly.
I think
And
so.
just have faith in what you're doing.
Yep.
All right, next question.
Kyle, I remember you, dude.
So for you men, Animaniacs is one thing with innuendos.
Yeah.
What about with Drawn Together?
There was no innuendos without innuendos. It was so obvious. I mean, it's like I said, and oh, George, this was the other thing. So we're doing this show, okay? And every week I get the script, and I'm like, there's no way that's going to make it to air. And it would make it to air. And it was the most horrible, like terrible, the most un-PC, offensive stuff ever. And some of it was very funny, others was just really offensive. And I remember when the show, it did very, very well. Got canceled after a few years because of money with Comedy Central, and that's fine. And the creators called me one day, and they go, dude, great news. And I said, okay. And they go, we're going to make a movie. And I said, oh, good. And he goes, yeah, we'll be able to do all the stuff we didn't do on the show. And I'm like, what didn't we do on the show? I'm like, dude, how far can you push this? And it's the only premiere of anything I've ever been to, that movie, where I was like under my chair. I just kept sliding. Oh my God. It's just, it's unthinkable. So yeah, I mean, there's a difference, you know, Animaniacs and stuff like that. It's kind of sly and, you know, wink wink to the adults who get it. Drawn Together was like neon signs pointing with arrows to whatever the joke was. And if you know the show, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, so that's that.
Well, I'm just curious, was there anything that you had to second guess that was just so vulgar, terrible?
Yeah, like I said, there was stuff they gave me to say, and I'm just like, nah, dude, I can't do it. Give it to James Arnold Taylor, he'll do it.
All right.
Yeah,
next
Shatter.
question.
Yeah, he'll do anything.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
I have a question I'd like to ask more about directing. From your perspective, from the voice acting perspective, and the experience you've had, what would you say the best advice you could give to a director when directing an actor?
We both mutually know Andrea Romano,
Very well.
who I love.
She's
There are a lot of great directors out there, but what I love especially about Andrea is that she talks to actors like fresh horses, which is you don't spook them, and that's I think that's the best advice a director can give to another director about actors is don't spook them. And by that I mean everyone gets all together and does it like a play. And she gets excited about what she's doing, and she reads the description of the editorial, and then Superman says it!
Yeah.
And she goes like that. And you just get caught up in the moment, as opposed to other people who are like,
Okay, line 45.
Yeah.
Let me try that again. We hurt your stomach.
So somebody who gives to you, somebody who doesn't, you don't feel judgment, you want to feel like you're in it with them, you're in on it with them. I think that's the best.
I think a good director, generally, if you know, a director's really good and she knows she's got a good team, she'll let you do your thing. She'll just go, okay, and here's what's going to happen, and go with it, and let's see what you got, and you go with it, right? Other directors will literally say to you, they'll say, okay, at line 37, you say, where's the gun? Go! And I just go, where's the gun? And I know they're going to be happy because that's how they were hearing it, you know what I mean?
No, they used to say, where's the gun go?
Yeah, where's the gun? Yeah, where's the gun? Go! Yeah, exactly, that's true. But I mean, that's what you call line readings. And a lot of the time, like newer directors or directors who don't last very long give their actors all these line readings. And some of us, you know, get offended. I don't care because it gets me out of there quicker, dude. It's like if whatever they want me to say, however they want me to say it, I'm a mercenary. I'm there to do a job and get paid and leave. So as long as they're happy, I'm happy. But the best directors trust their actors and know that they're going to do a good job.
That's it, really, and almost don't say anything. 3 takes. Don't say anything on the first 2 takes.
Yeah.
By the time you get to the 3rd take, either it's on camera or on a cartoon, then if you have a note, just hold it till the 3rd take. Go, hey, I love what you did before.
Yeah.
Try it. Try this, just for shits. Try that.
Yeah, try something else.
And you know what? Maybe you get something new because you're now relaxed. The actor's now relaxed. They don't feel like they're being judged, and then they come up with something new.
Yeah, another peek inside voiceover. This is really funny because I just did a thing the other day where some amateur actors, some young actors, God bless them, won a chance to record with me, like on ISDN, and we were doing these scenes, and it was this cute thing, right? But in voiceover, a lot of the time, you know, they'll say, "Give me a set of 3." Right? Now what that means, when they say give me a set of 3, that means they want to hear the line 3 different ways. Okay, so that way they can mix and match and pick what they like. So if the line is, what are we going to do? And they say give me 3, you might go, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Okay, like 3 different things. So this way they pick the one they like. Well, this sweet little girl, man, she only had one line, and the one word, and the word was Dad. That's it, right? And every time she did it, she did exactly the same way. So finally they said, hey, Lisa, with line 37, the Dad line, give us 3 in a row. And she goes, okay. And she goes, Dad? Dad? Dad?
Okay, we got that one.
And I'm sitting there and I'm on video, and I'm trying not to squid my water out my nose. But yeah, so you know, you get it or you don't, man.
All right, last question.
Oh, really? It went so fast, man.
Too quick. All right, now, you both obviously have done singing and everything.
Yeah.
What is, now, George, yeah, I know you sang on theater. Have you sang on television or in film?
Yes, several movies. I did a Disney Channel movie called Double Switch. Sang on that, and some cartoons, Timeless Tales. And, what else? There was a movie I just did for Santa Pups, Rockstar Puppies.
Nice.
So,
Like that.
This is just more for me, but do you each have a favorite song as a particular character that you've done? Other than the capitals of 50 states, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, all the
you sing
Animaniacs
that.
music, was great, man, because a lot of it was educational, you know, and I learned some stuff which I never learned in school, yeah, and that's cool. And I mean, I'm doing this show now called Sophia the First. I get to sing in a lot of stuff, but I'm in this Sophia the First thing. I play Cedric, who's the sorcerer, and he gets big songs. They're like Andrew Lloyd Webber songs, you know? Yeah. So I get to do that stuff, and of course, you know, the Rock Sugar thing. Because what's really great, man, is you go from being a transformer on Thursday to being a rock star on Saturday, and it's a pretty good life, you know. And I get to have that crazy bastard travel with me because that's my best buddy as well as my agent. So we go all over the country and have a good time. So it's pretty awesome, man. I love the fact that I get to sing in a lot of this stuff. But you know what's funny? A lot of the time when you get hired and there ends up being singing. When I first got started, I mean, now everybody knows I sing, but they never asked me. You want that?
Oh, I know. Yeah, there's a person. Oh, you can sing.
Yeah.
Like, well, you should have asked first.
Yeah, it's the same thing as the wildebeest thing. You know what I said when they said they expect you to do wildebeest? They're like, okay, we're going to sing today. What do you do if you're sitting there going,
I can't sing worth shit.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're screwed. Then you're sitting there going, Dad?
I lied, there is one more question.
Good, dude.
George,
Yes.
at the end of Justice League Unlimited, when Superman has like the best moment in the show with the World of Cardboard speech, what did you think of when Lex Luthor saved the day?
Say that again, the last bit.
When Lex Luthor saved the day, even though like you just gave the amazing World of Cardboard speech.
When I get these questions, I have to be honest, I don't know what to say because I can't remember.
See, it's me too. He looks like he's more together than I am, but it's just as bad.
We did so many episodes, I can't remember exact. I know it was a big important speech at the end, and I had a lot of those. I wish I could help you. I'll go back and look it up and find me. And talk about it. I cannot remember.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because see, this is.
I'm sure it was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure I was incredible.
If George was actually standing there in the Superman suit, faced off of Lex Luthor, he'd remember. But as it was, he was flat on his back in the studio in Burbank, drinking a Mai Tai, trying to get through the session.
No, but I probably will remember. I just need to get jogged.
All right, guys, we're going to be signing autographs in 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to be down there. Come say hi, you guys.
Big round of applause.